Okay. I know you're very busy. Now, I just want to let you know the latest one. This morning, the Chinese Foreign Ministry was asked about your tweet also.
That's famous.
And what the Chinese Foreign Minister's spokesperson, what he said was, well, I want to know that plan too, that destroyed. But like you said, I mean, we pretty much agree there might be a plan. It just that they don't spill it out, but there might be a plan to totally destroy Taiwan.
I think Lindsey Graham made it pretty clear.
Yeah.
What's now? A Taiwan government is concerned about my tweet, but they're not concerned about Lindsey Graham saying we're going to kill every person in Taiwan. He literally said we are going to ensure the death of every human being in Taiwan, and these people are concerned about a tweet.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, what Lindsey Graham said, it should be blow up everybody. This was last year when Nancy Pelosi was shortly after Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan. That was the interview, and he said he supports that. And that's where, the interview was, when he mentioned that the Taiwanese people, something like that, the last man in Taiwan, that's the word he used. And that should be a big thing, right? That should be, what does he mean, the last person in Taiwan? Nobody talking about that at all, but like you said, your tweet now becomes the talk of the town.
And it's also hilarious that they said, well, Garland this is a Russian propagandist. Well, Lindsey Graham must be a Russian propagandist. And let me add this. Okay, I have a show on Radio Sputnik. I also have a show on Pacifica Radio in Washington, D.C. I have a show on Pacifica Radio in Los Angeles. So you could say, I guess I'm I'm all over the place. I'm not only I was on Fox News for 10 years, as I'm a very, very far left-leaning person, but I was on there saying the things that I say. So they just chose to use that to try to discredit it. But the problem is they can't discredit the truth. They have to push back and they have to fight it because they know if everybody hears it, they're going to look at it and they're going to be like, yeah, that's kind of obvious.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, I just want to let you know how I'm going to do this because I will maybe put in the subtext in the translation, but I will also, put out the whole interview so people can see that, but I will also do a summary. Like telling people what I talked to you about and some highlights. And if you want to see the whole thing, here's the whole thing, something like that.
Wonderful.
And so just so you know how I do this. This is the first time I'm doing it. I hope I can do more because I do want to introduce lots of the voices within the United States to the Chinese public. Because what they see is CNN and the BBC, and they hate those people. The BBC is the most famous people.
Oh, they don't hate them any worse than I do.
BBC, what they do, CNN, lesser degree, but also they will interview people on the street in China, and then they will twist it. They will cut out the things that the people really mean, and then make it sound like those people are very negative about, China and here, there, even though those people on the street didn't really mean it. And they do that all the time. And when you see some of the pictures that they took out, it's always gray. The pictures coming out of China is always gray. And there's plenty of beautiful days, sunny days, green, and blue sky, that kind of. No, the pictures, if you look at them, they coming out of China, they're always gray.
Of course.
And one more thing is about the CNN's report about this genocide in Xinjiang. Yeah. They interviewed this one guy who supposedly who is a prison guard. He claimed he's a prison guard. What's funny about the whole thing is he has to put on his uniform. He's already supposedly escaped from China. Why does he need to put on his uniform? In order to let people know that he is a prison guard. And then the most incredible thing is that on the arm, there is a sign with 2 Chinese characters on them. They're supposed to say police, but those 2 characters are wrong. I don't know what they mean. They look like a word police, but they're not.
Right.
You see, it's a very bad, poorly made costume, I would say.
Yes, exactly.
And that's what the CNN did. That's the CNN's foundation of the Xinjiang genocide, because this prison guard, so-called prison guard, came out and told all the story. I mean, that's the quality.
Well, it wasn't CNN. It was that probably was put together by the State Department or the intelligence operator, and they okay, CNN, here's the plan, let's do it. I mean, so at this point, the people of China don't dislike CNN any more than many of us here. And if it's if it makes you feel any better, yes, they mischaracterize the things that we say here also. There was recently an anti-war rally in Washington, D.C., and on like MSNBC, they only showed certain things that they could find there, and they showed certain pictures, and they found some Russian flags, and they, what I mean? So they took an anti-war rally and they turned it into something that it absolutely wasn't. So, I mean, that's the same, that's the game they play.
Yeah, but unfortunately, because they are still controlling the mainstream, so that's why I think lots of people still buy into it. They still think, Russia and China, some people who are against the Ukraine war, they think China is evil because China is prosecuting Muslims and, genocide, all that sort of thing. They are actually still, people believe that. So
CNN's ratings are collapsing.
I know.
Their ratings are collapsing. And part of it is because people are kind of tired of the same thing all day long, basically getting propaganda from the State Department and the National Security Agency. So really the only thing they're doing is preaching, as we say in America, they're preaching to the choir. They're preaching to the converted. So they're saying to people that already believe everything they say, the same thing over and over again. Meanwhile, many people are migrating to alternative media. Alternative media is growing phenomenally. I mean, in the last year, like my YouTube channel, I had like 4,000 people that was following my YouTube channel. I now have 45,000 people. I had like 5,000 people following me on YouTube. I now have like 75,000 people. That's happened in 1 year as people leave the mainstream media in droves. So I think that's a positive thing. They are signing their own death warrants as far as the media is concerned, because people want something different. They can turn to 5 channels and get exactly the same stories. That's not sustainable.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's something positive I see. I agree. There are lots of alternative media as long as they allow you. But I know we know YouTube many times, they would put all kinds of things and Twitter, all that kind of thing. Your Twitter account was canceled for a while, right?
Yes.
And yeah. Okay.
And Musk restored it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not a Musk for or against Musk. I mean, but I think he has done very positive things since Twitter. My understanding is he's going to do a kind of a video element and challenge YouTube. And there are a number of other platforms now. Rumble is growing, Rockfin is growing. So there's free speech platforms. Again, I think there's an alternative media that is really growing. And I think that's a positive thing. As it continues to grow, people will continue to get alternative perspectives. And they're not all true. I'm not saying every alternative perspective is true, but we know for sure that the mainstream media is a propaganda arm of the United States government. And I certainly don't think that's good for the American people. And God knows it's not good for the Taiwanese people, because they're being set up to be pretty much, as Lindsey Graham said, to be all killed.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And I love your channel, just so you know.
Thank you.
I watch every one of them. I think, whenever I have time. So and then I watch you and Scott Ritter, the two of you. Yes. And then I just try to sign up on the Rockfin. That's where you have your full, Yes. Now, before we finish, is there some last words you want to tell the Chinese audience, both in the mainland and in Taiwan, some last words?
Certainly. And that is that I want the Chinese people to know that there is a large contingent of Americans who are not falling for the psychological operations that's being thrust upon us by the U.S. government. There are more and more people are waking up to recognize that we have a government that doesn't represent us and is not acting in our best interest. And I believe that the Ukraine conflict will ultimately turn out in a way that will thwart the warmongers from being able to expand this, expand their horizons to Asia. Certainly they want to, but I think we're going to have a lot of problems here. And we've got a lot of people who are pushing against it. So, you're our friends, you're our brothers and sisters, the people who represent the current regime in the United States do not represent us in the same way I would say this to the people of Taiwan, you better wake up, because these people do not have your best interest in mind. And as they said, they will kill every one of you and go home and drink a cup of tea and won't even lose any sleep.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I greatly appreciate that. And then also moving forward, I'm sure there's plenty of Chinese people want to hear these kind of voices, right, outside the mainstream. So we know that the election is coming. I'm sure you will have a lot of comments about the election. So is that okay? If I go back to you, we can
certainly contact me anytime. Yeah. I'd love to come on.
Yeah, that's great. That would be truly appreciated. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Okay. Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.